6729.
Coming up on Mountain News at 6, London police officer Travis Hurley died yesterday of COVID-19 complications. Some of his friends and colleagues remember him. And former Survivor winner Nick Wilson is running unopposed in a state representatives race. We'll talk to him about getting into politics.
The snow will continue to come to an end later on tonight, but the Arctic cold continues tonight and into tomorrow. I'll have the latest on just how cold we could get coming up right now at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening again. Snow continues to fall, temperatures continue to drop, and it is starting to get nasty on the roadways. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has the latest on what to expect as we go into the evening hours. Evan?
That's right, Steve. The roads are getting slick out there quick. Even though we're not seeing a ton of snow, it's the timing and exactly the temperature out there that's making it hard to drive on some of those roadways right now. You see those brake lights on for the few cars that are on I-64 at Moorhead right now. You see the increase in some of that snow on the side of the road there, and then the wet roads as well, with the with some of that beginning to work on through. Now that could also refreeze later on tonight. Mountain Parkway at Slade, not a ton of snow there, but still seeing the effects of that. Temperatures right at or below freezing just about everywhere. That's going to mean that we're going to refreeze those roads if anything does melt. Pinpoint Doppler, we're looking at the potential for those snow squalls pushing on through. You actually see a polygon over into the western part of the state, over toward Louisville, that we've never actually shown you before. That's a snow squall warning. Those are going to be possible as we head later on into tonight, depending on how heavy some of that snow gets as it pushes to the south and east throughout the night tonight. Once this final band that's pushing through the Louisville metro area works through later on tonight, we're going to shut the snowfall down. But that's not our only concern heading into the overnight. We're in the low teens for lows tonight. Bitterly cold temperatures. I'll have the details on all of that coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, thank you very much, Evan. Our game of the week was postponed tonight, as were several high school basketball games across the region tonight. And of course, we'll keep you updated on road conditions as we go along. Our other big story today, the city of London is mourning the loss of Officer Travis Hurley, who died from COVID-19 complications yesterday. WYMT's Dakota Makris looks back at his career and how his colleagues plan to keep his spirit alive.
Well, it's been a tremendous blessing to serve the city of London alongside the greatest men and women I've ever known.
Travis Hurley retired as a lieutenant last year from the London Police Department after serving for more than 2 decades.
If you were in a bad mood, he would make it better, and if you were in a good mood, he made that better also. He was just always a pleasure to be around.
He showed his love for his community every day, returning to work as a school resource officer.
He served all the schools and went around to all the schools, so most children from all the schools, most of the faculty from all the schools, they all knew and loved Travis.
But in early January, he became sick with COVID, fighting a battle as any officer would, with courage.
When he was put on the ventilator, then that was really, that hit home for us. We were really worried about him.
On Thursday, Hurley's family said goodbye.
I think what helped us is that we all talked about it out loud. We didn't keep anything in. A lot of tears were shed, a lot of prayers were heard.
A dedicated family man.
He was a mighty Christian, strong moral character and ethics. He was just about a perfect man. I mean, there's nothing anybody can say negative about Travis.
Describing him as a man who was wonderful, faithful, and full of love.
Because if there is a heaven, he's there.
I'm thankful to God for allowing me to pursue a dream. I've answered my last call.
In London, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
We are told Officer Hurley's wife also had COVID, but she has since recovered. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced. Kentucky State Police are searching for a missing man from Perry County. 35-year-old Dustin B. Sexton was reported missing by his family on September 11th of last year. Police say he was last seen on July 19th, 2021. If you have any information or know where he might be, you're asked to call State Police. With even more snow falling tonight across the region, officials are reminding you to stay safe out there. Officials suggest staying off the roads if you can, but if you have to get out, take the proper precautions. Along with driving safely, officials also warn to heat your home safely as well. It's going to get really cold tonight, and heating your home obviously includes natural gas and electric heating appliances.
Be very careful with those electric heaters, you know, and especially if you're running a real lightweight extension cord, that's not a good idea. And it's really not a good idea to leave those heaters on while you're sleeping.
Gary McClure, who was also a firefighter and fire chief in the past, says alternate heating appliances are one of the #1 causes of house fires during these cold winter months. The Lee County Volunteer Fire Department received a large donation today. WYMT's Chas Jenkins has more on what that means for the department.
The Terry Farrell Firefighters Fund, donating used gear and vehicles to help a fellow station out.
To us, it was a huge boon because it meant that we could take fire trucks that were having mechanical issues and having water supply issues. We could get those in for repairs and still have trucks to fight fires with in the meantime.
Defining brotherhood, giving the department 3 fire engines and several types of much-needed equipment.
We know that everybody here has a job just like we had to do at home, and whatever we can do to make those people be able to do that job and less stress and burden on them, and if this is what we can do to help out, that's perfect.
Allowing other departments less equipped the opportunity to spend less funds.
We're always strapped for cash and funding and grants. We're all fighting for the same pool of money from state and federal grants. Sometimes you're lucky and get awarded a grant, oftentimes you're not.
Making sure rural fire departments get the gear they need.
It's basically, if we have it, you're welcome to it. You know, most of the time people come and get it from us. Rare occasions like this, we can also drop it off.
Thankful for the donation from a dedicated organization.
It's going to change the community for the better. It's a huge, I don't even know what the word would be to describe it. It's a gift that you can't say thank you enough for. I mean, it changes your department for the better for years to come.
Helping their fellow firefighters. In Lee County, Chas Jenkins, WYMT Mountain News.
Phillips says 2 of the engines will be given to departments in Elliott and Owsley counties. For a list of the other donated items, you can check out this story on our website. Goodwill is celebrating its latest location opening with a ribbon cutting for the new Pikeville store. Employees and local representatives gathered at the new space today to welcome shoppers to the expanded space, which replaces the former Goodwill space in the Coal Run community. Goodwill representatives say the investment in a new location is less about the place and more about the people.
This is just another way that we can communicate to Pikeville and Pike County our level of investment here in the county. We have these stores so that we can carry out our mission, which is to help people find a pathway out of poverty.
The new location is on Lee Avenue in Pikeville near the public library next to Buffalo Wild Wings. The filing deadline for candidates in the 2022 election was extended by nearly 3 weeks to January 25th earlier this month. Despite that, no one filed to run in either party in Kentucky's 82nd House race except Williamsburg native Nick Wilson. And you might have heard that name before. WYMT's Zach Hawk met the former reality show star at his office to talk about why he wants to represent the 82nd.
Nick Wilson is hoping to make a difference in Frankfort next year.
Seeing our state legislators actually discuss the bills, debate on them on the floor, and have a vote really inspired me that in the State House, our politicians are really trying to do what they think is right for their constituents.
A Survivor champion from season 37, David vs. Goliath, he says those are experiences which taught him a lot, but don't really translate to government.
Politics, to me, is not a game. It's something that touches the everyday lives of everyday people.
Currently, the assistant Commonwealth attorney, at 31 years old, Law represents the bulk of his professional experience.
I've been a lawyer for 5 years in criminal law, a public defender and a prosecutor, and I'll be able to use my legal knowledge to craft legislation.
saying he is excited by the direction of the Commonwealth, citing budget success, wage increases, and economic growth. Wilson wants Kentucky's 82nd to share in that.
We have so much talent here. That's one thing I learned from traveling. We have so much unique talent in Appalachia, and it would be great to see more economic opportunities for employment, for education, for trade schools.
If elected, Wilson will take Representative Regina Huff's seat. Huff served in Frankfort since 2011. In Williamsburg, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, it remains possible an independent candidate could enter this House race in the general election. There will also be a write-in option on the ballot, but it's a very good chance that Nick will go to Frankfort after the election. The state primary election is on May 17th, and the general election follows on November 8th. Secretary of State Michael Adams announced that December saw a significant shift in party affiliation of registered voters. Those numbers show that the Democratic Party saw a decrease of nearly 6,000 voters. Those voters went toward the Republican Party. Secretary Adams says the year-end statutory deadline to align party affiliation with party preference for the May 2022 primary election apparently prompted this movement. Kentucky still very much a two-party state. The numbers are in, and it's looking pretty good for at least one Democrat, Governor Andy Beshear. Governor Beshear's approval rating increased by 5 percentage points in the last year. Statewide, 60% of Kentuckians approve the job Governor Beshear is doing in a poll that was released this morning. That is up from 55%. Meanwhile, 32% disapprove of Governor Beshear. That's down from 36%. The poll also showed that Senator Rand Paul is comfortably ahead in his election race, showing a 55 to 39% advantage over most likely Democratic challenger Charles Booker. Friday's COVID-19 numbers are in. The state reported 15,822 new cases today, so not a good day on the COVID front, bringing our case total to just more than 1,120,000. There were 34 deaths reported today as well, putting the Commonwealth's death toll at 12,890. The positivity rate is down a bit more to 30.5%, still very high. You can always find the latest COVID-19 information on our website at WYMT.com. As a pet owner, it's important to keep your animals up to date on their vaccinations, but a disease that veterinarians are expecting to see more of in the near future is leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is a bacterial disease that can cause kidney and liver damage and can be contracted through the contaminated urine of wild animals. It's most commonly contracted by dogs, but something that makes this disease stand out is that humans can contract it as well. Veterinarians like Dr. Harvey at the Appalachian Animal Hospital in Hazard say you should ensure your animals are vaccinated against this disease.
So if you have a pet living in the house with you that has come in contact with that, it is possible for you to get it. And that is something that we make sure is part of our vaccination protocol, but the immunity on that one is very short-lived. So that's something that really, in a rural area like this, should be every year.
If your animal is feverish, is vomiting, and is starting to look yellow in color, it's worth reaching out to your vet to see if they have this disease.